This movie legitimately deals with sin in a dramatic and even physical way. Because when we see the patterns in the film, it's actually a great way to think about sin. This is a tricky one, of course, and it's the most subjective. The movie toys with a wealth of ideas here, but doesn't ever really quite nail anything down. So I get how a lot of people could easily walk away from this film with the platitudes just punctuating and punching up their own personal worldview that they walked in with. Not every movie is trying to preach. There's some muddy ideas here, but from a Christian perspective, if we take both Genu and Rumi together, we actually get a comprehensive portrait of the state of humanity since the fall of man, since sin entered the world through our spiritual enemy, not Guima, but the devil. We see how sin affects us both in terms of our parentage and our proclivities. That's something that you rarely see, especially a kid's film. Now, Vlad Savchuk says this movie blurs the line between good and evil, to which I would say, yes, it blurs the line between good and evil when it comes to people. Rumi is compromised because of her patterns, something she's had since birth. Hang on to that. Genu is compromised by his patterns born of his sinful actions. Now, Savchuk complains the hero isn't someone who's freed from her demonic influence. She learns to accept herself. I don't know what movie he was watching, but there's a very specific freeing from demonic influence that both she and Genu experience. And it's not about accepting your patterns. It's about exposing them, exposing the truth of what she's inherited and who she is, and then being transformed into something new in spite of those patterns. For Genu, it's about being freed and released from those patterns and the voice of his demon master. And he says, I can't hear the voices anymore. I don't hear the voice in my head. Both of them need deliverance. That's the point. We rejected the idea earlier, like people don't become demons. But the Bible does teach that since the first man and first woman fell into sin, all of us now are corrupted by nature and choice. Again, something that's hard to represent in a kid's film or in any film in a dramatic, metaphorical way. And here they pull it off. In Rumi, she's wrestling with a part of her nature she's inherited. And in Genu, we see someone who's committed a very obvious and grievous sin. This pairs both of them together to help us understand our sin nature that we inherited, and then that we have our own sins. In fact, it also reminds us that we're not just created in the image and likeness of God. After sin entered the world, everyone after Adam, says in Genesis 5, Adam had a child in Adam's image and likeness. Now remember how I said we don't become demons, but in sin we become affiliated or associated with them, right? We're children of Adam. Our father wasn't a demon, but we inherited passed down corruption. We inherited patterns. Psalm 1 says we're sinful from birth. David says, conceived in my mother's womb in sin. So in one sense, we're all like Rumi. We're born broken. We're born wrong. We have a sin nature. That's a product of the fall. We don't just accept God made me this way. No, we're broken. We're born broken. We're born wrong. So we're a little like Rumi. But then we're like Genu too. We've all got our own sins. From our youngest memories to our whatever age we are now. If we're honest, we're like Genu, and together they represent each of us. We can feel like, as they say in the movie, in one of the song lyrics, a broken soul trapped in a nasty shell. All of us have to accept and see that reality. We hope you enjoyed this snack-sized taste of popcorn theology. Check out the full episode using the link in the description. Subscribe on YouTube for more content. Follow and interact on social media to share with others. And remember, you are not a mindless consumer.